It's often said that new is always better.
I'm going to give you 4 words to live by. New is always better.
With the new year comes a new opportunity to read through new titles that can leave a lasting impact and provide a unique list of book recommendations just for you. So, I'm your host, Garrett K. Jones. Join me as I provide my New Year's collection of random book recommendations. It's 2023, y'all!
Happy New Year!
Hey, welcome to The Right Way, where we talk book recs, author interviews, and writing tips. Now, before we get into this month's recommendations, here's a look at what's happening all month long. First and foremost, today we have the top 10's video. That's pretty obvious to figure out, unless, of course, you're still recovering from partying last week. Yeah, you're partying, aren't you? Yeah, you are. You know it. All right, next week we will have our first author awareness episode for 2023. The week after that will be the January Creators Corner episode with more writing tips for you. And I will be doing the January live stream on the 28th. I'm also going to be participating in an author event at the Kings County Library in just 2 weeks. I don't know which other local authors are going to be there, but I do know it's going to be awesome. I'll be posting from the library to share the experience with everyone. So if you're in the local area, I would love for you to come down and pick up copies of the Archives of a St. Grand series. If you haven't already gotten your copies, that is. And I would also love to meet you if you're a first-time reader of the series. So, yeah. My January guest host was supposed to be children's author Clarinette Noland. I'm not really sure what happened. She had confirmed that she was going to be able to provide me with her recommendations list, but then she didn't. I don't know. Since I didn't have any of her content, I needed to make sure that I had something for you guys to watch and or ignore this week. So I recorded my first full top 10 episode in a while. Now, I might be a bit out of practice, but that's okay. I've got this. Now, some of the titles on my list are coming from a mix of books that are on my bookshelf, or they exist in my graphic novel collection, which is extensive, or they'll come from my library on Audible. So, let's kick this thing off, shall we? At number 10, we have Mr. DeMeo, The Biggest Stuff in the Universe by Mr. DeMeo. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who Mr. DeMeo is, he's an actual teacher from New Jersey who uses his YouTube personality to teach kids about all sorts of really cool stuff like math and science and vocabulary. The book is kind of a graphic novel form, and each section reads like one of his videos, complete with each of the characters that he has developed on his channel. My kid loves this channel, and as soon as he got this book for his birthday last month, he had me read it to him, and we had a blast learning about the universe and all the cool stuff in it. Number 9 is Perfectly Poppy by Trisha Stone Shoemaker. If the name sounds familiar, it should. I featured Trish in my Author Awareness August Marathon last year. This is another kid's book that I've read to my son. Poppy is a cross-beaked rooster who feels out of place on the barnyard. But even though he's different, that doesn't mean he's any less awesome. It's a great lesson for any child to learn. Number 8, Just a Guy, written and narrated by comedian Bill Engvall. Now, if you recognize that name, he's the Here's Your Sign guy from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour. I had the opportunity to see him perform live, and he's pretty funny. This audiobook was a fun, quick listen that provided me with a bit of insight into why Ingvald became a comedian in the first place, and it also gave me a look at what his family life was like. Number 7, The Circle and Legends of the Circle by Stephen J. Galligan. This is a series I absolutely love. Stephen has been on the show as both an interviewee and a guest host. I'll link his last appearance up here. The premise of this series focuses on a secret society whose members hunt each other for sport, earning cool code names based on how they perform their first kill. I would be Mr. Trips-a-Lot. The Circle is the original title, and Legends is Stephen's follow-up prequel that expands the world for the reader in some really cool ways. They're definitely books worth getting. Number 6, we have In the Hills Above the Gristmill, written by Calvin Ellis. Cal is another indie author that I've become friends with, and the first book in what is going to be his Paisley Mott series is just so damn good. Now, if you like cryptids, if you like murder mysteries, if you like bizarre conspiracies, you're going to love this book, especially as Paisley spends her YouTubing career in search of the paranormal. Now, I featured both this book and The Circle in one of my top audiobook lists in the past, and they make a comeback here because they are just fun, excellent reads. Number 5, DC's Dark Knights of Steel, which is written by Tom Taylor. This is an alternate reality redraft of the DC mythos where an epic fantasy kingdom is ruled justly by Jor-El and Lara shortly after they escape Krypton's destruction. They have helped raise Lord Bruce of the House of Wayne, who helps protect the kingdom from all manner of threats, and the kingdom is at war with 2 other kingdoms, including the Amazons. No, not Jeff Bezos and the Rings of Power. We're talking about Wonder Woman and her gal pals. Now, I really enjoyed this graphic novel because it almost felt similar to the Marvel 1602 imprint, which depicted the Marvel classic heroes in a time-displaced manner where they start out in the 17th century. Number 4, Godzilla vs. the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, written by Cullen Bunn. This is the matchup that's been a long time coming, especially since the Dragon Zord bears such a striking similarity to Mechagodzilla already. Rita Repulsa and her goons acquire a multiversal portal generator to enter worlds where the Rangers don't exist. The first universe she enters just happens to be an Earth protected by Big G himself. This fight is epic, and while Godzilla begrudgingly teams up with the MMPR, the team know not to overstay their welcome because anything that's as big as Godzilla is gonna get trounced. That means the Megazord. Number 3, Alan Moore's writing for comics. This is a must-have for anyone wanting to write comics, graphic novels, and even manga. This insightful book was helpful for me when I worked in my academia nuts comic strips for my senior capstone in college. Number 2, All You Need Is by Brian McKay, Ph.D. Brian is a longtime friend of my family. He and my dad go way back to their freshman year of college, which is a very long time. Brian is one of the smartest, most insightful people that I've ever met, and this book helps readers and listeners get a better understanding of themselves and helps them understand their past experiences. Finally, at number 1, Aliens vs. Predators, Ultimate Prey, edited by Jonathan Mayberry. This is the 3rd anthology in this franchise, and the stories are really good, spanning across different eras of human history on Earth, as well as spreading to various terraformed colonies in a far-flung future common to the franchise. For me, this was an extra treat because around the time that the book was released, I was able to get my hands on this paperback copy from Mysterious Galaxy Books in San Diego, which is not only signed by Mayberry, but also by author Scott Siegler, who has authored stories in this anthology as well as the Aliens Bug Hunt anthology, which was also edited by Mayberry. Now, if you're a fan of the franchise, this is a seriously fun book to get, so get your hands on it. Now, I didn't put my selections in any particular order for this, and chances are some of these may shift around in my top 10 for this list. Just like with any reader's top 10 recommendations, the lists are going to change depending on what you like to read and what's going on in your day-to-day life. So please, just because a book was lower on the list doesn't make it any less spectacular. If I could talk. Hey, thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications on new videos. You can support the channel on Patreon and the merch store. Those links can be found down in the video description. Make sure to tune in next week for the January Author Awareness segment featuring an interview with author Elizabeth Suggs. See you then.